What's going on, guys? Joe Munoz, OneStepPrep.com. Hope this video finds you well. Let's talk electrics for a second. In previous videos, you've often heard me say, don't forget all of the previous information, data, and knowledge from your previous aircraft, but adapt it. And I'm of the opinion that we should adapt first, and when not adaptable, dump it. But frequently we'll hear instructors say that you should just forget that other airplane. This new aircraft that you're learning is no longer that old aircraft, so just dump everything. Well, that might be true for some things, but not for all. And the reason I say it is because you will find that aircraft, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, they're a lot more similar than they are different. And in this video, I want to focus on the electrical system. Two things about it. Specifically, we're talking between the 7.3 and the 320. Number one, we cannot parallel AC power. In other words, what that means is, if I'm a bus, think of me as a bus, and this is a source of AC power right here, this phone, and we'll say this USB drive is another source of power, okay? So if this is providing some power, some juice, if you will, and this is providing some power, electrical power, I can't retain both at the same time. In other words, I either have one source, APU, generator, ground power, what have you, and if I pick up another source of power, I have to put down the other source of power. Now, this is referring to the inability to parallel AC power. You can't have two parallel power sources at the same time. This is true on a 737 and an A320. Now, another thing that's very true is the fact that we have something called a generator control unit. Now, let's talk about a GCU, or a generator control unit. A generator control unit is nothing more than a sophisticated box that checks for power quality. And by power quality, I'm talking about output from the generator. So let's use the engine generators, if you will, that both produce 90 kVA on the 737NG, 90 kVA, and also on your 320, 90 kVA, 400 cycles per second, 115 volt power. Now, before the generator is allowed to supply this power to the bus, in other words, before the generator supplies me, the bus, there is a middleman, if you will, that checks for power quality and output from this generator. And it has to be 90 kVA, 400 cycles per second, 115 volts. And if it is, this computer inside will close something known as a generator line contactor. Or you can also call this a generator control relay. Typically, we actually refer to it as a GCR, a generator control relay. So the generator control relay is housed inside the generator control unit. Generator control unit is a box. Inside the box, generator control relay. That closes, if you're not familiar with the term relay, that's basically a circuit breaker that closes when electrically energized. Let me say it again in its most simplistic form. It's a circuit breaker, snaps closed, when electrically energized. So if you have electrical power, meets good power quality, the generator control unit allows the generator control relay to close and then send power through the circuit breaker to the bus. This is true on the 737NG, it's true on the A320. So you can adapt this to both because it's on both. Now, the one thing that is a little bit different is the actual generator coming online, powering the bus, because on a 320 it happens automatically, and on a 737NG, you have to manually toggle it on via the generator switch on the overhead panel. So there is a little bit of a difference in terms of the level of automation. A320, again, is going to do it for you automatically. However, the 737, frankly, any model 737, from the 200 to the 3, the classic 4, 5, all the way into the NG 6, 7, 8, 9, and even the MAX, you have to manually put on the generator. That doesn't mean there's not a generator control unit. It also doesn't mean there's not a generator control relay. It also doesn't mean it's not 90 kVA, 400 cycles per second, 115 volts. It's all the same. You cannot parallel AC power. See how many similarities there are. It's just one automatically comes on, and the other one you have to manually select on. But I encourage you folks, look for ways to adapt knowledge, and where it is not able to be adapted, dump it. But I always try to adapt first and prior to dumping, because you have experience, you have background, and I don't want you to just toss it all out the window as if it was all for nothing. It wasn't. You can actually utilize a lot of that very much in adapting it to your new aircraft type. And of course, like I said, if you cannot, I don't want you to mistake this for, well, Joe says every airplane's the same. Well, they are similar in a lot of ways, but there are, of course, a lot of different differences, if you will. Flight control laws is one big one. The fact that you have to manually do it on a 737 versus an A320 is another one. So there are differences, but we look to adapt prior to actually dumping. So hope that finds you well. We'll see you in a live stream. We're doing a live stream this Wednesday. I believe this is Wednesday 21st. Today's the 19th, 2021. Yeah, on Wednesday, we are doing a live stream 11 a.m. We'll talk whatever you guys want to talk to. Typically, we do those for 45 minutes to an hour. We'll be doing that live from Miami in our office. So hopefully you tune into that. We'll be live streaming it on YouTube and probably Instagram. YouTube is primarily where we stream it. And then, of course, some live webinars that we do once a month for our members. If you're not a member, go hit us up at One Step Prep. It's the number one, onestepprep.com. Hope this video finds you well and you found value in it. And we'll see you at the live stream and in the next YouTube video.